Hi everyone, this is Gyan, and today I'm going to talk on ancient aliens. Ancient aliens. Now, the question wasn't specific that I got from someone asking me to talk about and on ancient aliens. Now, the first question is there such a thing as ancient aliens? And why specifically ancient? Why isn't there modern aliens? Or why isn't the ancient aliens the same aliens as today? What is the question? What is it that we're looking after for looking at ancient aliens? So here I'm going specifically at the question the person asked, or the topic they gave me was just ancient aliens. Now, ancient aliens is a very interesting point because I have some information about aliens and ancient aliens. In fact, we are aliens, or we were previously aliens, that is now actually in these forms, which is called the human form. See, the aliens that I'm familiar with is called the Anunnaki, which was a reptilian race that existed, and with them there was the Atlanteans, the Greys, the Draconians. There were a lot of alien races before the human race. And actually, in our current form that we are as the bodies we have now, we are alien beings. Our expressions from previous races that we were has been put into these bodies eons of time ago. All of this I got from Destiny, and where Destiny brought through the portal the reptilians, the Atlanteans, and so forth, and how they explain the history of mankind. And very interesting fact on aliens is that they are not necessarily in the physical form or the physical reality as we are, yet they are also physical beings. They exist on a different frequency, so to say, a different dimension. Now, the reptilians created the human race as a slave species, and they put Atlanteans inside, well, they tricked the Atlanteans inside the human bodies to move, for the bodies to be useful, to be doing something. And obviously, the reptilian race, which was Anu, Enki, Marduk, Enlil, all of them, experimented with designs. That's why you'll find so many uh, Homo sapiens species from hundreds of thousands of years ago till 30 to 20,000 years ago that is so different to today's species, and why there's only one species left is because those were experiments, those were tests, those were uh, failures, if you want to call it that, that the reptilians designed, and then suddenly you have a gap to a next type of species. There's no actual evolution, there's no actual development of us human species. It's all a jump. So if you look at the skeleton of a Homo sapien that existed 120 years, 20,000 years ago, suddenly there's a jump and it looks completely different, and therefore it's a different species. Now, if we want to say we evolved from different species, or we evolved from the first Homo sapien species that we found, then you should see a gradual development, a line that shows you clearly, like, oh, now the nose is changing gradually over a period of time. But we don't find that. We find jumps. We find, for example, suddenly there's a new type of Homo sapien species, and it is completely different almost. It's almost ape-like. And then we find there's one that's ginormous, or one that's got big bones, that suddenly now we have the form we have today. So how do we explain all of that? That's because the Earth, first and foremost, was the Atlanteans first. It was their home. The Anunnaki, which is the reptilians, came here because they wanted a certain resource from the planet, and in the end they ended up taking over the planet because they have another agenda, which was eternal life and existing forever. So they wanted to play God. And for this, they started creating on Earth, because Earth was a perfect sound planet. So playing with the planet was pretty easy. That's why everything on Earth is sound and water, crystals. Everything is how you can manipulate and create on this specific expression of this planet. Now, you also have to consider that back then, we're talking eons of time ago, the reality that we know of as today was completely different. For example, today everything is solid and hard. Back then, everything was more on a different vibrational level, and over time, everything solidified more and more. So, playing with creation and creating was much easier. And this also means that the reptilian race, the Atlanteans, everyone had access to this reality because they existed in a higher vibration frequency. But they were able to express and move through all of the physical reality. Now, the reality that we know of today solidified more and more with Anu and the reptilians' race creation of the human species, and where they also created the mind. So when we, for example, look at ourselves, we are we are robots, organic robots that were designed by an alien race, and we were designed for a specific reason. This reason isn't to dig up gold from the earth, as it is known that that is also something they wanted, but it's not necessarily the end goal. The end goal for the reptilians was to create heaven for themselves. And for heaven to exist, they needed energy to sustain this heaven, this other dimension. Therefore, they created the humans as a physical being which would mine the physical, which is mining their bodies, and thus transfer the energy into their minds. The mind would release the energy to heaven, and this would be what's feeding the existence of, for example, where Anu and them existed. This way, they had batteries that can procreate themselves, they can survive and live by themselves on a planet that is physical. So they mine the physical, they send the energy to heaven, as they call it, or dimensions, so they say, and therefore they have now energy that's feeding them. And they set up constructs such as the white light construct. They set up the white light, they set up masters, they create a lot of things in this world and in the dimensions, which is everyone knows as heaven, to help this end goal that they would like. So ancient aliens, as I want to get to the point, isn't so ancient. In fact, we are them. We are the ancient aliens that have been placed into these bodies in this physical reality. So we are these bodies, we are this physical existence. We are not separate. We are not now suddenly an alien. We are human right now because it's just a physical change. It's just a body change. It's not who we are. So ancient aliens isn't so ancient. In fact, they are here as us. We are all one and equal. You have to understand the principle of oneness. Oneness, in fact, means that everyone's responsible. It means that everyone is one in fact. Therefore, it doesn't matter if you are a Atlantean or a reptilian or a gray or a draconian, or doesn't matter what alien races existed as ancient species or even today inside of us as who we were back in the day. We are all still here, one and equal, the same. So nothing changes for us knowing about ancient histories, but what does change is understanding how we got here. Why are we here? And once we realize that this is all just a prison planet that was created for a purpose by us in the past as different species, and now we're enslaved to our own creation, then we can start seeing how can we loosen the shackles and the ball and chain and everything we have attached to ourselves in this reality, where we participate in the designs that's been placed by the reptilian races and draconians and the greys and so on. And we can see that it is the mind, and the mind's purpose for why it existed and was created is currently non-existent, yet we're still participating in it because the reptilian race and what they did ended. It didn't continue as they hoped and planned for. Heaven ended. The dimensions ended as it existed as a eternal life or place for eternal life, where humans keep generating heaven through the energy that we participate in. That's positive and negative energies, which is a polarity design. So the whole system that we're living in is a polarity design system. Therefore, you have poverty and rich, you have war and peace. You have so many polarities to constantly create energy, generate energy. This energy used to feed heaven so heaven can exist, and the beings that existed on that plane, in that dimension, could feed off that energy and live forever, so to say. but nothing lasts forever, right? So in that time, ancient aliens, as we want to say, did have access to their own creation here on Earth. So they would design and create and build certain structures here on Earth, and they would also intervene in human activities, such as miracles, such as doing great things, and they would present themselves as gods or as demigods, and they would come forth as something else but not what they really are. This way, they create belief systems, they create religions, they create a lot of conflict and diversity among everyone so that we can always continue fighting and having conflict, so that we can always generate energy through the mind. And this energy is what they fed off. So now that the dimensions ended back in 2007, that's when it was officially closed off, the system has been inverted. This means everything you participate in goes back into our reality. It doesn't get fed into the dimensions or the heaven. So now we are really starting to face our own consequences. But you have to understand that the beings, such as the reptilians, the Atlanteans, whatever aliens there was as ancient aliens, they are us because they are getting reincarnated into this one reality. Earth is currently the only planet that sustains life until we have sorted out what we have accepted and allowed through eons of times within this existence. And this is as a final point. All of this information I get from Destiny and that I've learned through Destiny, and it makes complete common sense to me. And looking at my existence, my reality, how I have understood the information, I can say that for myself, wow, we are truly at our end, and we need to start seeing our design, our organic robots for what they are, our present planet for what it is, and that everything is designed and that everything is specific. It is not just something that we miraculously were created because of love and whatever. It was created with a purpose. And I can be, for example, a reptilian that got reincarnated, but it doesn't matter. You can be an Atlantean, or reptilian, or draconian. You can be a gray. You can be any being that existed in the past as an alien, but you're now reincarnated as a human. And yet you will still experience yourself exactly the same way. You will still be exactly the same. We still live in the same world, the same reality. So, yeah, ancient aliens existed. And they've existed for billions and billions of years. And that was us. It was no one else, no one separate from us. Let's take common sense, for example. If aliens exist, if humans exist, if everything different exists, everything dies, where does everything go? Probably goes to the exact same place. So we all probably reincarnate into the exact same things. So we're all the exact same things, because if let's say I am a reptilian and I die and now I get reincarnated as a human, therefore I'm a human and a reptilian. It doesn't matter what alien space. I mean, do we think aliens go to different heavens or dimensions than us? No, they go to the same place. We all go to the same place when we die. So we're all everything. We are all the beings. We are all the aliens. We are all ancient and brand new. We are all the exact same everything here. Therefore, there is no need to really investigate ancient histories or modern alien existences, because it doesn't matter. We are still here. We are those beings. We don't know. And going into depth into all of those things only distracts us more from dealing with what is here. For example, what is here? We have to deal with our habits, our patterns, our addictions, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, the things that we cannot control every single day that happens, our moods. I mean, the fact that we can't control it shows us that there's a program and a design playing out. And only robots have programs and designs. And only those things happen to robots with programs and designs, and they follow it religiously without question. You just do it, you just live it. Which proves once again that we are just robots. Because we don't have self-will to wake up every day knowing this is who I am, and this is my decisions, this is how I experience myself, this is what I'm doing. I decide my path every single day, every single moment, every single second. There's no thought that enters my mind without me knowing about it or how it comes into my mind. We don't know all of those things. We just go through the day like there's a program guiding us. There's a design guiding us. and we just live our lives according to designs and programs, which shows that everything that exists here is designs and programs, and that means someone designed and programmed it. And I do not believe in God, so God doesn't make sense to me at all. But when I understand existence, when I understand, for example, creation, through the destiny message and the history of mankind, that makes sense to me. That makes physical sense to me more than anything else. So that is what I am enjoying about destiny and also the history of mankind, is the fact that it makes sense. When you hear it, listen to it, it's something that I can apply through billions of years until now and how creation works. There's no God needed for where we are right now or who we are. And let's get back on topic. Ancient aliens. We are the ancient aliens. And everything we're discovering in this existence about aliens or so on that is old and that's us. We're just discovering our own stuff again, our own things that we left behind. So yeah, it can be cool to unravel these things, but then again, if you understand existence, which I would suggest you check out Equality, where it shares a interview through the portal which can bring in beings which lives in the dimensions, and how they explain and share the ancient histories, so to say. And where they explain that back in the day, like millions of years ago, billions of years ago, there wasn't just one earth functioning at a time, there was multiple earths. And at that time, when Anu and them was experimenting with beings, like human beings, Homo sapiens, and how they work and how they function like a computer game, they were doing all of it kind of at the same time. So when the earth and everything starts solidifying, different timelines start solidifying together. Therefore, we'll find histories that is so different yet almost the same to other histories that we find on this earth. So you can find in, for example, in Mexico, pyramids, and you can find in Egypt pyramids, but they look almost similar. The design is the same, but they are not the same. And then you'll find that this one is 7,000 years old, this one is 10,000 years old. That's because there's different timelines that solidified and mixed together because different tests were playing out at the same time, when the earth and everything was still more dimensional, more vibrational, where everything could still function in a multi-dimensional way. So this is how we can look at ancient history. In the end, everything is here. Nothing is separate from us. Nothing is different from us. We are the ancient history. We are also the brand new history. We are also the future. We are the present. So we are everything that is here in every single breath. We are the aliens. We are not the aliens. And we are, in fact, whatever we find in this world that might look like some mystery or something mysterious, we were there. We participated. Because this is a closed system. A closed system means there's a certain amount of beings that exist. And therefore, there's a certain amount of beings that exist, gets reincarnated, recycled through existence. There's not like a heaven for aliens and a heaven for humans and a heaven for everything else. We all go to the same place when we die. Therefore, we all go to the same places in the end. So this is my perspective and answers on the topic of ancient history. And I believe it might open up a lot of questions. I will give links, mostly links, because everything has been answered, has been shared. I'm just giving you my point of view of it. So thank you very much for watching. I'm going to cut this video off here. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I might come back with another live video tonight in about 5 or 10 minutes. So take care and rewatch the video if you would like. Thank you very much. Like, share, and subscribe. Bye bye.